Hey everyone, it's Taylor here, the serial hobbyist. I just wanted to hop on here and make a quick little video on how I prepare my space for pouring resin. And I've kind of learned from experience that this might be the most crucial step in any sort of resin craft. And that is because resin gets everywhere. It's so sticky, and if you don't prepare right, you might get resin stuck on your floor or your table, and you really don't want that because it's very, very difficult to get off. And so as you can see, I've already taken out all of the materials that I'm going to use for pouring, including my protective equipment, which includes a ventilator that filters out organic vapors. And I also have these goggles that sometimes I use and sometimes I don't. It's really good for when you pop bubbles. You don't want to get this in your eyes. And then of course I've got my gloves because you really don't want to get it on your skin. I also have these alcohol wipes that are in short supply right now, I know, but that's good for cleaning up any spills that I have. And I have also made it a point to gather all of the supplies that I'm going to need for pouring beforehand, so I'm not running back and forth trying to get everything in order in the midst of pouring. So that's helped me a lot too, just kind of a small step. I love casting craft. The other thing is those baking trays, and I'll explain a little bit more about those in a bit. I use KS resin. I absolutely love it. And so the first thing I do is usually wipe out my silicone molds to make sure that there's no remnants from my previous pour. And it happens a lot when I'm outside that after I wipe it all off and get everything clean, the wind will blow and something will get in my mold or in my resin. And so just being mindful of that when I pour outside. And it's important to remember to pour in a well-ventilated area. Sometimes people have sheds or garages that are heated that could be used for crafting. Unfortunately, I do not. I have a small house and a family that I care about, and so I've opted to do my crafting outside, which means that sometimes the wind blows and the elements come into play, and so I just have to be very careful with that. And like I mentioned before, I have those baking trays, as you can see, and I use it so that my molds have kind of a solid foundation in case I need to transport them somewhere. I usually transport my molds after I've poured indoors and put them under a filter, which I will show you next. And that being said, I can't just pick up the molds and transport them without the resin spilling over the edges. So that's why I have that baking tray, which is not used for baking anymore. I just use it as kind of a carrier. And you typically don't want to leave the molds on the baking tray because the baking tray, as I've learned from previous pours, will then make your mold uneven because it's slightly concave, or I don't know, even domed in the middle. So the middle might be higher and the outsides might be lower, and so it doesn't create a well-balanced area for your molds to cure. So I'll fast forward through this and hop to showing you my filters after I pour. So after I do my resin pours, this is where I bring my finished product, if you will, and I have again put wax paper, multiple layers, duct tape so that they don't slide. And here's kind of the filter that I use so that the resin doesn't get into the air. And honestly, I have no idea how good these filters are, so I'd do some research probably, but I have just made holes in the top of these bins and tape the filter on. So that's how my pieces get air while still protecting us from breathing in the resin. I hope you guys enjoyed watching this video. I am definitely not an expert, but this has been the process that has worked for me over the last month. And so if you have any tips and tricks that you want to share, feel free to comment below. Any questions are totally welcome. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel to see more like this. I am also planning on posting videos from the coasters that resulted from all of this preparation, so stay tuned for those. Thanks for watching this video, and I will see you next time.